Hello there, my name is Varshit and welcome to Horizons Across. Today, we'll talk about projectile motion. Well, what is projectile motion, you ask? Projectile motion is nothing but the motion of an object that has been thrusted or ejected at an angle from the horizontal. Well, too tough? Imagine yourself in a park and you're talking with your friends. That's when a bully, a very fat bully, comes and gives you a wedgie. Ouch! And now everyone's looking at you, laughing, and they are embarrassed. So you take a revenge on him. You throw an apple at his face. Wow, that's a lot of damage! If you look at the apple's path, you will notice it is a parabolic path, which is basically a U. That is exactly what projectile motion is. So to understand projectile motion, we have to understand trigonometry first, and then the equations of motions laid by Newton. So let's go already. First off, we'll start with trigonometry. Hey Vineet, give me a triangle. Now this triangle we have is a right angle triangle. Now the reason we have a right angle triangle is trigonometry is mainly applied on right angle triangles. So let's label the sides as perpendicular, base and hypotenuse. Now trigonometry consists of ratios, which are sine theta, cos theta, tan theta, cot theta, cosec theta and sec theta. Let's start with sine theta. The sine theta is p by h, which is perpendicular by hypotenuse, and the tan theta is perpendicular by base. Whereas the other ratios, cosec theta, sec theta and cot theta, are basically the inverse of sine theta, cos theta and tan theta respectively. With the help of these, we can take out the components of x and y axis of a slope. With that, I believe we are done with the trigonometry part. Now, the three equations of motion. The first one is v is equal to u plus at. The second one is s is equal to ut plus half at square. And the third one, it's v square minus u square is equal to 2as. These variables stand for something. The v stands for final velocity, the u stands for initial velocity, the t stands for time, s stands for distance, and the a stands for acceleration. Now that we're done with the two topics, we can come back to projectile motion. Now comes the fun part. Hey Vineet, could you give me a graph? Thank you Vineet. Now let's consider the origin as the object. This object has been thrown at an angle theta from the x-axis at a speed u. Now why did I take u? Because u is the initial speed. Now this line can be bifurcated into two components of x-axis and y-axis. As I mentioned earlier, we can multiply u with cos theta to get the x-axis component. Now you would be wondering, why would I multiply u with cos theta? Well, that's because u will be our h, which is the hypotenuse. When we multiply our hypotenuse with cos theta, it will give us the base. So the x-axis component for speed is u cos theta. And in a similar way, when we multiply u with sine theta, we'll get the y-axis component of speed. Whew, we are very close now guys. A quick fact here. The vertical speed in the projectile motion is variable, whereas the horizontal speed is fixed. That means the only speed which changes is the vertical speed. Alright, thank you Vineet. Normally, we don't take air resistance into account. Now we come to the point where we make use of equations of motion. So now all we have to do is put these values into the equations of motions to make a formula. Now over here, the time taken by the object to travel all the way up and all the way down is the total time the object is in motion. We need to use the y component of speed to find the total time, because the object is traveling vertically and our earth has a gravitational acceleration which pulls the object downwards. So in this case, we will use the first equation of motion, that is v is equal to u plus at, because we need to find the time. So the u in this case will be u sine theta and the v in this case will be 0. So we'll take the u on the left hand side and subtract it from v, and that will equal to at. Now what is a? A is basically g, which is the gravitational acceleration of the earth, which is taken as 10 but it is precisely 9.8. When we put this equation together, we get u sine theta by g, which is the time of ascent. Now as a matter of fact, the time taken by an object to travel all the way up is equal to the total time taken by the object to descend. With that, the time equals minus 2 u sine theta by g, because the total time of ascent is minus u sine theta by g plus the total time of descent is minus u sine theta by g, which ultimately equals to minus 2 u sine theta by g. This we have here is the total time of the object in motion. Yay, we are really close. Over here, the displacement of the object is called its range. To find out the range, we need to multiply the x component of speed by time, which is nothing but 2u sin theta by g times u cos theta, which was equal to 2u square cos theta sin theta by g. With that, you have the distance between you and the bully. Now all you have to do is specify the speed or the angle to get a perfect shot at his head. Apart from this, you can also find the maximum height your apple achieves, which can be computed by using the third law of motion, v square minus u square is equal to 2as. Now putting the value of v as 0, the value of u as u sin theta, the value of a as g, when solve this equation, you get the value of s as minus u square sin square theta by 2g. And as you know, the distance can never be negative, the value will be u square sin square theta by 2g. So with that, we reach at the end of this lesson. We hope you liked today's topic and stay tuned for more such informative videos in the near end. And with that, I will leave and so will Vineet. Peace out, boys!